How do roofing insurance claims work in Colorado? My name's Patrick, been a roofing contractor for 15 years in Colorado, and these are gonna be the 3 most common questions I've gotten from homeowners. 1, should I file a claim? If my insurance claim is denied, what do I do now? And 3, what does insurance actually pay for when you're getting a new roof? Quick disclaimer, we are a roofing company, which means we're a licensed roofing professional. We're just speaking from our professional experience and what we've observed in the Colorado market and questions that we've gotten frequently from homeowners. So this is just an informational video, and I hope it was helpful. Should I even file a claim or just pay for the new roof myself? So sometimes you should not file a claim at all. We tell people that all the time, right to their face, even though we are the ones who would want to do the work. Now, here's how I like to think about it. Before you ever call your insurance company, you need to know 2 things. 1, how bad the damage actually is, and roughly what it costs to fix. That is the whole reason you get an inspection of your roof first. If the repair is small and it is at or below your insurance deductible, filing a claim does nothing for you except put a claim on your record. But if you do have real deal storm damage that is clearly gonna cost more than your deductible to fix, especially like if your roof is totaled, right? So under that 10 hits per square standard, then yes, it probably makes sense to file a claim because that's exactly what you've been paying premiums for all these years. Now, the biggest mistake I see over and over is folks calling insurance the second they find one shingle in their yard, right? Before anybody has even looked at the roof. Do not guess. Have a roofing contractor get up there, find out what is actually true, and then decide if you're gonna file a claim. A couple real world examples of homeowners who filed claims when they shouldn't have. It makes me think of 2 things. First is in 2024, we saw this a lot in the hailstorm that affected Broomfield and Thornton, Colorado. Now, there was a lot of legitimate hail damage, but in the periphery of the storm, there was a lot of homes that just had very, very slight damage or none at all. And occasionally one of those roofs would be replaced in the neighborhood. There was a lot of neighbors that were filing claims because they saw their neighbor get a roof paid for by their insurance company, and they thought they would get one too. And then they would file a claim, it would get denied, we would get on the roof, and they would say, hey, I didn't get my new roof, my neighbor did. And we would tell them, hey, you have a higher grade shingle on your roof, and your roof is actually fine, you shouldn't have filed a claim. And so we see that a lot in every hailstorm where people are filing claims when they don't actually need to, just because they're getting what we call neighbor-itis. The other thing we saw a lot in Boulder this spring in 2026 was after a windstorm, there was a lot of people that had legitimate wind damage, so multiple shingles missing from their roof. But just because they had legitimate damage doesn't mean they should actually file a claim. That's because a lot of these were just smaller repairs. So they might be $800, $1,200, $1,500 roof repairs that were under their deductible amount. So a lot of those people we did repairs for, but we also saw people file claims kind of inappropriately in that situation. My roof claim was denied. What now? A denial letter feels final, but it's not. It's not a judge ruling against you. It's just one insurance adjuster's first answer. And I've seen a lot of them that get turned around. Think about what actually happens out there. After a big storm, an adjuster's walking dozens of roofs a day, and hail damage can be tough to spot, even for people who do it for a living. Like, things just get missed. That's just the real world. So the first move is simple. Read the denial, okay? You're gonna get a formal letter because it will tell you the exact reason they said no, and that reason decides what you do next. Get your own independent inspection so that the damage is documented. Now, this assumes you do have legitimate damage, right? If you don't have damage, you shouldn't have filed a claim in the first place. You can then ask for a re-inspection from the insurance company, where somebody like me gets on the roof with the insurance adjuster and they walk the damage together. And I cannot tell you how many denials actually just flip to approvals right there. For us, it's around 50%. Because now somebody is standing on the roof pointing at the bruising and the damage. Now, if the insurance company is still denying the claim at that stage, keep in mind almost every insurance policy has some version of an appraisal clause that most homeowners have never even heard of. So in our experience, the appraisal process is a formal process that you're entitled to as the policyholder. So what that means is you can evoke the services of a formal appraiser. You name an appraiser, your insurance company names an appraiser. They go out there independently, not the roofing company, not the insurance company. They go out there and then they have to meet and agree and talk about the damage, and really the extent and cost of the damage is really what they're figuring out and identifying together. Our experience, we've seen a lot of homeowners go through that appraisal process and be very, very successful. In fact, we were tracking it and it's about 96% over the last 2 years for just claims that we've observed. So just recently we had a homeowner in Longmont. They had very legitimate hail damage to their windows, to their siding, their roof, and their gutters, and they got a complete denial from their insurance company. I'm not gonna say which insurance company it was, but they had to kind of fight that process. And what I mean by that is just utilizing the appraisal process that they were entitled to in the policy. It took, I think, 11 months for their claim to get settled, but they were awarded over $50,000, and then we were able to complete all of the work. So multiple times they kind of wanted to give up throughout that process is what they told me, but they stuck with it, and it was definitely worth doing. So it taught me, hey, the appraisal process is a valid, legitimate process that you're entitled to, and don't be afraid to use it if it's appropriate. So what does the insurance company actually pay for? There's two real big factors here. And the first one is gonna be just simply the extent of damage, okay? So the extent of damage, what I mean by that is, are they covering a repair or replacement? Now keep in mind, they are only gonna pay for that which is damaged, okay? So I've had scenarios where people feel that they're entitled to a full roof replacement because they found a couple of shingles in their yard. Well, that can easily be repaired, right? Or maybe even one section of the roof can be done without replacing the rest of the roof because the rest of the roof is in good condition. If that damage is isolated and it can be repaired, that's all the insurance company is gonna pay for. So just because you have a problem with your roof doesn't mean your insurance company is gonna pay for a new roof. In the same breath, I've also talked to people who said, hey, I need a new roof. I'm just gonna claim it on my insurance. To which I say, claim what for your insurance? Are you claiming that, is it a claim for hail damage, wind damage, fire, lightning strike? Because those are all technically covered losses under, most policies. That's how it is on my policy for my home. Those are the things that are gonna be covered. Just because you have an old roof and you've been paying for insurance for a long time, doesn't mean they're gonna pay for your new roof. I like to use this analogy because people tend to be more familiar with cars. If I need new tires on my pickup truck, I'm probably not filing an insurance claim for that because that's not an event that is sudden or accidental. It happened over a long time and that's wear and tear. Now, if somebody runs into my truck or I run into a light pole or there's hail damage to my pickup truck, those are all events that are potentially sudden and accidental. So I've just noticed when I explain it that way, a lot of people start to understand it. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Extent of damage and what the damage is caused by, those are the two factors that are going to determine, whether they're paying just a little bit of repair money, a couple $1,000s, or they're giving you, 25 grand for that whole new roof. The second big factor here is the type of policy. Now keep in mind, I am a roofing contractor. I am not technically an insurance professional. I've just observed this and I can speak to, my own claim experience, even on my own home, etc. There's two main differences between types of homeowners policy when it comes to hail damage. And that's RCV, which stands for replacement cost value, versus ACV, or actual cash value. Here's what that means. If you have a replacement cost policy, the insurance company is going to cover the full replacement cost less your insurance deductible. On an actual cash value policy, they owe for what the roof is worth at the time it was damaged, right? So if you have a really old roof that gets damaged by hail at the very end of its life, let's say it's 25 years old, and you have an actual cash value policy, they're gonna take that amount of money, which it's not worth very much because it's been depreciated every year, and they're gonna do a depreciation calculation, and then they're also gonna deduct from that your insurance deductible. I've seen $30,000 roof claims that were technically approved, but the homeowner only got $1,000 or $2,000 after deductible. And that was the extent of that policy, okay? Most scenarios aren't that egregious or dramatic of an example, but keep in mind there's a big difference. In these two scenarios, these could both be for total losses. So you could have 10 hail impacts per square and the entire roof is damaged and every side of the roof is damaged by hail and the damage is extensive and easily documentable. However, just because you have a lot of damage in that scenario doesn't mean they're gonna pay to replace it. They're just gonna pay for the value of what's currently there. So these two factors of the type of policy, the extent of damage, they kind of blend together to determine how much you're actually gonna get. Those are the top factors for Colorado homeowners when they're trying to figure out what does their insurance actually pay for, how much am I gonna get, etc. Quick note on deductibles. Regardless of the type of policy that you actually have, that deductible, it always comes out of the total and you are responsible for paying that portion, regardless of, again, the policy that you have. It is illegal here in Colorado for a contractor to waive or absorb or offset your deductible, okay? So anyone offering to make your deductible disappear, they're waving a red flag and they're not necessarily doing you a favor. The honest And legal move is to get the damage documented properly, understand what type of policy you have, let that guide the conversation with your adjuster and your roofing contractor. Let's recap. So the claim process really comes down to three major things. One, knowing whether to file a claim in the first place. Two, knowing that if it gets denied, right, the denial is not the end. And then three, understanding what your policy will actually pay and just having your feet underneath you in that category. Through all of it, the foundation is the same. A properly documented inspection is what is truly going on in the roof, okay? That's what a company like us does, and we will tell you honestly where you stand, claim or no claim, and how to kind of navigate it. If your roof took a storm hit on the Front Range of Colorado, our inspection is free. I'm Patrick with WestPro Home Exteriors here in Longmont, Colorado. Thank you guys for watching.